Gabe and the others have been thrown out of Erickson. Just as they try and get their bearings, Abel and his partner ambush the group and the tension is immediately felt. Will their sordid past conflict with the present? We'll find out in the finale of this scenario. Realizing that it is in fact the man that killed her dad, Lily takes the end of her rifle and hits Kenny in the gut with it. He falls to one knee, clenching his stomach. He glares at Lily while she starts explaining. You still tell Vi and Lewis to either shoot or run, with both outcomes being the same. The chase ensues, with Gabe being shot in AJ's place. Gabe's trying to keep up, but starts to fall behind due to his injury. Eventually, the walkers close in and they meet James, except this time AJ isn't hurt. He still takes them to his camp, and the main course of action this time, at least for Clem and AJ, would be trying to find Gabe due to AJ being okay here. Obviously Kenny wouldn't let them do this, but it's the thought that counts. While conversing with James, they hear noises. James steps out to see Gabe covered in walker guts, barely able to stand. He helps him back to his camp, with Clem, AJ, and even Kenny being happy to see him. I feel like he'd be a bit miffed that Kenny told her to leave him behind, but he's in no condition to argue, so he lets it go for now. He lies down, and before James starts to treat his wound, Gabe calls Clementine over. He takes her hand and confesses his feelings for her. He decides to do it now, saying if he dies, at least he was able to get this off his chest. Realistically, had Gabe been in the final season, in my headcanon, it makes sense for them to get together earlier in the episode than the other love interests due to being friends longer. So it's like they've had more time to develop and kind of grow closer as friends, if you understand my meaning. Clem can either reciprocate his feelings or friend-zone him. Friend-zoning him would have Clem pat him on the shoulder, telling him not to be so dramatic and that he'll be okay, while sharing his feelings presents the option to kiss him. If you do kiss him, Kenny will look away, not knowing how to feel about this. Either way, James and Kenny hold him down while Clem takes the shrapnel out. They arrive back at the school, with Clem being fully rested since Kenny was there to help Gabe walk. Clem asks for their help, and they're not immediately let back into the school. The same pity they had for a little boy like AJ isn't going to translate to a grown-up like Gabe. It's gonna take some convincing. How she asks depends on what you did prior. If you romanced Gabe, she'll say something along the lines of, I can't lose him too, or I can't let him die too. But if you friend-zoned him, she'll just beg for their help. After seeing the state he's in, Lewis will run out and help Gabe inside. Clem warns them of the Delta, telling them to prepare for a fight. Ruby, Mitch, Clem, AJ, and Kenny all go to the greenhouse, and how you deal with Miss Martin will be reflecting AJ's ideals back in episode 1. If you paid your respects with Ten and Vi, he'll say you should bury her out of respect. Kenny will also agree with this, but if you didn't, he'll say you should burn it. After the time skip, the school is prepped for battle, and Gabe's fully healed. The group plays a little game of truth or dare, and it stays the same up until Lewis asks Clem about her relationship status. If you friend-zoned Gabe at James's camp, Lewis will still ask if there's anyone she likes. This will make Gabe upset, knowing if you say yes, it's not him since you curved him earlier. But if you did romance Gabe, Lewis will dare you to kiss him in front of everyone. She does, and it's pretty funny, with everyone making jokes while they do. The Delta would soon attack the school, with Lily starting her monologue. Kenny tells her to shut the hell up, and she taunts him saying, is that how you talk to your son? Kenny fires back saying only to assholes like that dad of hers. This infuriates her, but she keeps pressing on about Minnie, making Ten come out from hiding. Mitch is still killed, and the battle proceeds. With Clem and Gabe 2v1ing Abel, they eventually overpower him, but when the balcony snaps, Abel pulls Clem down with him. Gabe goes to assist her while Kenny would begin to get the upper hand on Lily. However, a Delta soldier would shoot Kenny in the leg, causing him to fall over. This distracts Clem, who gets knocked aside by Abel. Lily takes the opportunity to finish off their toughest member. She doesn't want him to join anyway. Kenny, not going out without a fight, struggles to get up. AJ tries to help him, but is too late as he watches in horror. Lily shoots Kenny and orders the rest of her troops to kill who they have to. Clem would get back up to assist Gabe in taking on Abel, not realizing what just happened. AJ is completely blank-faced. The man that treated him like a son, his friend, he's gone. Abel is eventually defeated, further shifting the battle in their favor. You then choose who you want to save between Vi or Lewis, with Gabe saving the other. Lily tells her soldiers to retreat, and the outcome is a lot better for the school, but really bad for our group. They were only able to take Omar and Asim, but Kenny and Mitch were killed in the process. Clem and Gabe would rush over to see AJ kneeling down by the lifeless body of Kenny. She looks at him with a somber look on her face. The episode then ends with everyone gathering around Abel. In the morning, another funeral would be held for Mitch and Kenny. Even though the kids didn't like adults, Kenny fought to keep the school safe, so he's buried alongside Mitch. The interrogation of Abel would stay mostly the same apart from some dialogue between him and Gabe. Oh yeah, and Clem would also have a much more violent approach during the interrogation. AJ would definitely approve of this, viewing it as payback for what they did to his friend. The group meets up with James, and he asks them to spare the walkers while he gets his mask. Gabe will spare the muertos no matter what, doing it out of respect for James. After all, he did help save his life. If you spare the walkers with Gabe, AJ will follow suit. Killing even one of the walkers will have AJ go all out, killing all of them in his way. He's more brutal following Kenny's death. James will still help you regardless because Gabe respected his wishes. If you did too, then he'll have even more reason to help you. They still have their rescue party, and Clem has her little moment with whoever you choose to romance. The whole date dance scene with Lewis and Vi is replaced with a determinant scene for those who romanced Gabe. If you romanced him but didn't kiss him at James's camp, no matter what, he will kiss Clem when they're alone in their dorm room, showing his gratitude. If you did kiss him at James's camp, they'd play a game of cards while talking about everything that's happened thus far. Whenever the group is discussing their lives before the apocalypse, Gabe would speak up. He'd say that he didn't appreciate the people that were looking out for him before they split up. His uncle, his stepmom, his own father. He always wanted to be treated like an adult but never showed that he could actually be treated as such. He realized this after his sister was brutally killed. Even now, he still feels like he hasn't proven himself yet. He looks at his bat and says he's gonna give it back to his uncle someday, whenever they meet again. Take care of each other. He repeats David's last words to the group, saying he's gonna do whatever it takes to make sure everyone makes it back. With Violet and Lewis both being here, they perform a duet of Don't Be Afraid. Lewis plays the piano while Violet sings the lyrics. The party would then end and the group would set their plan in motion. They sneak onto the ship using the herd as cover. When they get to the cells Omar and Asim are trapped in, they're off-guarded by Minerva and Lily and get thrown into cells. Lily would then tell the parable of the twins, and a new dialogue option is presented. Along with the canon choices, Clem can say she's become worse than her dad. After certain dialogue choices with Minnie, Lewis/Violet would become angered hearing her brainwashed tone of speaking. Based on Minnie's responses, one can become more angry than the other. Whoever it is will have their finger threatened to be cut off. You can of course have AJ stop it or let it happen. AJ would still be taken out to the deck with Lily and separated from the group. Clem opens her cell door with AJ's knife and they blitz Minerva. While Lewis attacks Dorian, Gabe and Clem tag team Minnie. He grabs her arm and Clem punches her in the face. However, Minnie, being the tank that she is, doesn't go down. Violet shoots Minnie in the shoulder and Gabe helps Lewis in taking out Dorian. They sneak outside to see James tied up and Lily trying to manipulate AJ. She takes the gun back from 10 after he starts crying. When she points it at him, whoever you didn't save in episode 2 will charge in and get brutally knocked aside by a rifle. They're banged up pretty bad, but it's not fatal like in canon. Clem still attacks, and Gabe takes his chances rushing Lily. An all-out brawl breaks out on the boat, with Clem ultimately winning with the help of Gabe. Failing the QTEs will result in the gun landing by Gabe, while successfully performing the QTEs will have AJ grab the gun. If AJ has the gun, you get the normal canon choices. However, if Gabe has the gun, you don't get a choice. It's up to him to decide. Back in season 3, if you shot Conrad and Joan, Gabe won't hesitate in pulling the trigger, killing Lily. If you only shot one of them, it's based on what Javi told Gabe after he pointed his gun at Conrad. If you said he's unarmed, Gabe will fire warning shots around her before telling everyone, let's just go. Choosing any of the other dialogue choices would just result in him killing her like normal. However, James wouldn't die due to Gabe keeping his gun trained on Lily. The bomb detonates, exploding the ship in the process. The final episode starts with everyone getting off the boat. If Lily is alive, she'll ask why AJ/Gabe didn't shoot. AJ will say it wasn't his choice. If it was, she'd be dead. Gabe wouldn't say anything to her and would just glare as her boat drifts away. She'll stay quiet with a somber look on her face. Their boats sail off, and that's it for Lily. Our group meets up with the others at the docks and get their weapons back. When splitting up to get back to the school, they find the cave and take cover inside due to walkers overrunning the area. If James is with you, he'll be angry if AJ shot Lily. I want to re-establish what I said earlier in that the only way James can die is if you have AJ spare Lily. That will result in the canon outcome where he gets stabbed. Anyways, James trying to take AJ would be a really bad idea as he starts getting jumped by Clem and Gabe. I don't think he'd care much if Gabe did it considering he's a grown-up, and if Gabe spared Lily then he'd help them escape with no issues. If he was angered, he snaps out of it once Gabe tells him AJ did what he had to in order to protect them. They couldn't trust her, even he has to realize that. James would say he's seen what bloodlust like that can do to a person. The argument is then interrupted when AJ says he liked it. Clem and AJ still have the conversation about whether she trusts him or not, and AJ would have certain dialogue regarding Kenny's death. They leave the cave and meet up with Louis/Violet depending on who took more of a beating on the boat, with the others going back to the school. They talk about how the other's okay and received no fatal injuries apart from cuts and bruises. They make it to the bridge and Minerva returns singing "Don't Be Afraid." Trying to convince her brother to die with her wouldn't work as easily though. Gabe notices 10 taking a step forward and puts a hand on his shoulder telling him to snap out of it. Minnie still fires her gun, making the muertos flood in. Gabe looks into the herd of muertos and would be trying to hold them off with his bat. He tells Clem to get everyone across while he keeps them busy. Clem gets AJ across first, with Louis/Violet following after. Minnie rushes after Gabe and they begin wrestling over the axe. When one of the muertos gets too close, Clem shoots it with her bow. Minnie then rushes into Clem, slamming her into the wall, causing her to fall over. She then aims her gun at Clem, ready to finish the job. If you didn't trust AJ, Gabe charges in and gets shot in the arm, reopening his wound from earlier. Clem tackles Minnie and disarms her but gets blood spat in her eyes. When Minnie tries to reach for the axe, she's hit in the face by Gabe using his bat, getting bit on the hand in the process due to being weakened from the gunshot. This gives Clem an opening to shoot Minnie. As she stumbles back into the herd, they begin to devour her. He weakly tells her to help 10 and she's able to muscle him across. Gabe attempts to jump across as well but nearly falls due to not having as much strength to grab the edge. Clem helps him up as they narrowly get out of there. If you did trust him, AJ will shoot Minnie in the shoulder, causing her to drop the gun, and Clem will slash her leg with the axe. She screams and falls to the ground. As she tries to stand, Gabe swings his bat and knocks her into the muertos. With the herd closing in, 10 rushes over. She's trying to break free, but Gabe is holding her back. 10, still not cooperating, is slapped in the face by AJ, who has now jumped to the other side of the bridge to help them out. This gets him to snap out of it while Clem helps him get across. Gabe would then help AJ get back across. As he turns to jump himself, Minnie grabs him by the arm and tries to keep him from jumping. However, Clem is able to help free him from Minnie's grasp and they both jump across and rush out of there. Louis/Violet and 10 would split off from our group after climbing the fence. When they get to the cliff, Clementine can climb just fine cause Minnie never sliced her leg. AJ is next, being helped up by both of them. Due to having one extra person, it takes slightly longer to have everyone climb the cliff. If Gabe wasn't bit on the bridge, he'd get bit on the leg as he scales the cliff. AJ clears them out while Clem jumps down to help him up. They get to the barn with Gabe not being able to stand due to the bite or a combination of blood loss from the reopened wound and the bite. If Gabe and Clem were a thing in your playthrough, Clem will say she always thought she'd be alone until she met him. This is actual dialogue from Clem in A New Frontier before Gabe dies. He'll say he loves her, and they get him inside the barn. If Abel removed his arm, AJ says they should cut it off. It worked for Abel, so they have to try. If he didn't, she suggests cutting it off, saying it worked for this one guy she knew, this being Reggie. AJ agrees and Gabe nervously tells them to do it. Instead of the mood feeling somber and dark, it's more distressed and anxious, with Clem and AJ trying to figure out a course of action. The game cuts back into the present, with Clem and AJ spearfishing. AJ would be given Kenny's hat, and she tells him Kenny wanted him to wear it once he's old enough. He takes the hat, saying he'll need a haircut first. Clem looks off into the distance and AJ puts his arm around her, saying he misses him too. She pulls him into a hug and 10 shows up with her hat, saying he found it down by the river. She leaves them alone and you get the same choices to forgive him or not and whether you agree to train him or not. When returning to Erickson, Gabe is waiting for them at the gates with either crutches in one leg or a stump where his hand used to be. Clem will either hug or kiss him depending on the relationship. AJ runs up and gives him a hug as well. Overall, it's a happier ending for everyone. Louis still has a tongue, Violet isn't blinded, and 10 is still alive. The camera pans to a wooden cross with the name Kenny carved into it. It cuts back to the group as they sit on the stairs and talk, with Gabe saying Kate would kill him if she found out he lost a limb doing all of this. Javi would think it's pretty badass though. As AJ, you can say it is pretty badass, better than becoming a moi. He butchers the Spanish not knowing how to pronounce the word, or they'd be proud of you. With that, we end this part and this series. I really hope you guys enjoyed this scenario, cause throwing Kenny in was definitely a curveball I wish past Ellie wouldn't have done, but I think I executed it pretty well. I want to hear what you guys think. Was I able to redeem Gabe at all? If so, be sure to comment and subscribe, and let's try and hit the like goal from the beginning of the video so I know there's interest for these what ifs. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next video. Oh, also Discord, link below, come chat with me. I'm lonely sometimes. Yeah. Thanks for 1K. Love every single one of you. You guys are amazing. Yes, you. Talking to you through your screen. Nod your head with me, you're amazing. Yes, you are. Don't shake your head. I said nod your head, you're amazing.